Hello, friend. I want to explain just a couple of things concerning the Electoral College, just kind of tell you a little bit about how it works. I've had several questions lately where people have asked me, what is the Electoral College? How does that really apply? Is that really even important? We've heard several stories of people who wanted to change the Electoral College, maybe eliminate it. So in the midst of that uncertainty, I thought I would just take a couple of moments and just answer the question for you. It reminds me of some people that ask me about Bible questions. A lot of them have Bibles, but they really don't have a clue what's in the Bible. They know a couple of verses, a couple of scriptures, a couple of them they can tape to their refrigerator and just kind of positive affirmations, but they really don't know the content of what's in there. That kind of reminds me of this situation concerning the Electoral College. The Electoral College is in the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution is a very important part of the United States. As a matter of fact, within every oath of office for every federal United States position, there is a pledge to defend the Constitution. I mean, that's first and foremost, that's primary. And there's nothing more important for the United States than its Constitution, because within its framework, it creates the boundaries that affects every part of your life. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I think it ought to come down as a serious red flag when you hear anyone talking about changing the Constitution. I mean, almost every election, you'll have someone that will come and say, we'd like to make amendments or we'd like to change. But usually that's because the Constitution is kind of getting in their way. And so they're wanting to make amendments or change this or that so they can kind of push their agenda, whatever that might be. But that's something you've got to protect. You've got to protect the Constitution. And I'll tell you the truth, there's a lot of things in there that are for your benefit that I'll just bet you didn't know anything about. And one of those things is the Electoral College. The Electoral College is embodied in the Constitution. It's Article 2, Section 1. I almost went to the Bible there. Chapter 1 is Article 2, Section 1, and the 12th Amendment. It talks about the Electoral College. Through the wisdom of our founders, so many principles were laid out, and one of them being how we elect a president. We don't elect presidents based on the popular vote. And the reason is because it would cut so many people out if it was just a popular vote, whereas people have a tendency to gather in certain areas, like, for instance, say New York, where all of the business is taking place, all of the commerce is in movement. Well, people are naturally going to be drawn to that, and the population for that kind of place is going to be completely overwhelming to a place like Wyoming. And so the wisdom and insight of our forefathers to add the Electoral College to the Constitution was to safeguard the vote of every person, whether they be Wyoming or whether they be New York. That's what it's for. Otherwise, it's just a very populated areas that's ever going to control the things that take place. Places like New York, places like California, places like Texas, they'll control everything because they have the biggest population. You know, I just recently heard of a group that wanted to change the wisdom of the Constitution and to eliminate the Electoral College. And I want to just say here that this idea is only concocted by people who have a political agenda and are willing literally to squelch the voice of the rights of anybody that they disagree with. You cannot afford to let that happen. Now, I want to explain to you why the Electoral College is important, just to kind of take another step. In its simplicity, it's so that the bigness of one state doesn't eliminate the voice of smaller states. For instance, when we're going to elect a president, he's got to have 270 electoral votes. Based on the population, each state has so many votes. Every state, they get so many votes. That's their place at the table. For instance, Louisiana, they have about 4.5 million people. They've got 8 electoral votes. New Mexico, they've got about 2 million people. They've got 5 votes. Missouri, they've got 6 million people. They've got 10 votes. Oklahoma, they have about 4 million people. They've got 7 votes. Texas, on the other hand, has 28 million people, and they've got 36 votes. I'm just telling you, the population of Texas is overwhelming to some of these smaller states. I mean, just the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has about 6.5 million people. Well, that's almost twice as many as the state of Oklahoma. That's almost twice as many as the state of Kansas or of Missouri. And if it were based just on population, then the majority of the states would have no voice whatsoever. Now, and that would be unfair, wouldn't it? That would not be right. I would hate to be in a place to where it didn't matter what I felt or what I believed, my vote wouldn't count. But with the Electoral College, it gives everyone a seat at the table. They all get to contribute. I may not have as many electoral votes as someone else, but I have this many, and I want to make my declaration that this is the values we hold, and this is what we as people from Oklahoma or from Nebraska, this is what we believe, and so we cast our vote in this area. And I think it's so important that we embrace that. I know there's a lot of people that would like to go to the popular vote. That is, everybody vote and they just tally all of those up, and the one that gets the most. I remember when Hillary Clinton lost the election a few years back, even though she had the popular vote, she got those votes from these densely populated states they were voting for. I mean, stop and think about it. California with 40 million people, New York with 20 million people. I mean, that is you get those 2 states alone, and you have just eclipsed the majority of the United States. Now, her mistake is that everyone else that was in what we refer to as the flyover states, they didn't really matter that much. I mean, in other words, you're not really important enough for me to stop and talk to you. I'm not like you. I don't understand you. Your cows are smelly. Whatever the case might be. Well, to fix this, a lot of people today, what they're trying to do is change the Constitution and to eliminate the Electoral College. I remember hearing the Speaker of the House back a few years ago. She made a misstatement, and she was trying to defend this, and she said, every vote should count. Well, I totally agree. I believe every vote should count for your state and not mine. In other words, if you're from California, your vote should count for California, because those votes reflect who you are as people, your values, what you believe, what you embrace. And so it should count for you. I don't need the mindset or the values of California to come in and invade my Texas. I mean, we've got a saying around here, quit trying to California my Texas. And what we're basically saying is people come from other places because they don't like what's going there, and then they come to our state and try to bring those same things that cause their state to collapse. They try to bring them here. I mean, and that's not a reflection on saying that the East Coast and the West Coast, they're very valuable and wonderful places. I love California. Matter of fact, much of my family lives there and has over the years. I love it. It's absolutely incredible, beautiful place. New York, what an amazing place. Seriously, is a great, great place to live. But if you live in the middle states, you're basically saying we don't need the West Coast or the East Coast to tell us in Central America how we're supposed to live our lives. I mean, the reason that so many people are fleeing California, moving to Texas or Tennessee or whatever, is because their values have changed and it's taken their life and their economy into the ditch. And so we're just saying we don't want you to come to Texas and try to bring those same values to the state. So I want you to understand, I guess my point in that is to say that every vote that a person has is a reflection of the values of the people of that state. I mean, that's their home. That's the way they've been raised. And that individually should be protected. Their values. We shouldn't be trying to make California like someone else or trying to make Tennessee like someone else. The people that are there, the values that they have are going to reflect their votes. Texas reflects its values how? By voting. California reflects its values by its vote. Utah reflects its values by its vote. Kansas should have a vote. Kansas should have a place at the table. And those of you in middle America, those of you in the middle states, what we refer to again as the flyover states, these East Coast and West Coast values are completely foreign to you. I'm just telling you, you wouldn't fit in. And to eliminate the Electoral College from you is basically to say, you don't have a place at the table. You don't have a voice. You can just kind of go over there and stand in the corner someplace. I mean, without the Electoral College, all of the other states can just go take a hike. We don't need you. We've got a few states that's going to carry the abundance of people, and we'll make the decision. We'll take care of business here at the adult table, and the rest of you can go wait in the corner. We really don't need you to say anything. See, that's what it is to eliminate the Electoral College. This is so very important. And you need to always fight for that and to defend the Electoral College. Well, you should fight to defend the Constitution. That's one reason why with any Supreme Court judge, we want someone who is a constitutionalist. We want somebody who's going to defend the Constitution. I don't care what they believe about something else. That doesn't matter to me. You need to be purist from the standpoint of defending and protecting the Constitution. Because I'm just telling you something, once you shake the Constitution, once you begin to deviate from that, all of a sudden all of the framework that has built around your life begins to crumble, and suddenly it's going to all become unpredictable. So you need the Electoral College to be a part of your life. That should be something we should never let go of. And like I said earlier, that should be a red flag that goes up anytime someone begins to talk about eliminating that. They're trying to change the Constitution. Don't let that happen. Well, I hope this answers some questions for you. I think the Constitution is important. As a matter of fact, every family should have a copy of the Constitution there in your house. Just like everybody should have a copy of the Bible in your house. You need the Constitution. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of our politicians, it would probably do them good if they had a copy of the Constitution. I mean, that's got to be the bedrock of everything that we build our communities on. Don't let anyone change it. I hope this has helped you. I hope this answered some questions, and I'll plan on getting with you next time. This is Jerry Edmon. God bless you.